welcome back to This Is the Way, Season 1, Episode 3. My name is Kyle, I'm your host. We got Baby Yoda here, we got the Mando helmet, we got the This Is the Way shirt. We're doing like quick speed through reviews of The Mandalorian on Disney+. This is Season 1, Episode 3. This one is called The Sin. This one basically picks up, Mando is bringing Baby Yoda over to Werner Herzog's character, to deliver the bounty. He goes in there, he kind of goes through with floating Baby Yoda. Somehow no one notices that or picks up on that's really strange. It's okay. He goes in there, Werner Herzog is really excited. He's drooling over it. He's like, yes, bring me the baby. You brought me the baby. Now eat the baby. I don't know what he's gonna do with that thing, but he brings him that. The doctor scans it. He's like, oh yes, he's healthy. Basically Werner gives him a crate of the Beskar steel, which is really cool. And he's like, what are you going to do with it? Werner's like, don't ask questions. He's like, you take your payment, you take your commission, you go. Mando's like, okay. He reluctantly takes the steel, he leaves. Mando goes down to the forge there. It's really cool because he gets a full Kyrios of armor. He tells the forger, she's like, well, what's your signet going to be? And he's like, well, I defeated a Mudhorn. She's like, okay, well, the Mudhorn will be your signet then. He's like, no. I didn't defeat the Mudhorn nobly. He's like, it wasn't a noble kill. And she's like, well, how did you defeat him then? He's like, I got help from an enemy. And she's like, well, why would an enemy help you? And he's like, well, my enemy didn't know he was my enemy. And they're like, all right, dude, I'm not going to ask any more questions. But she makes the Kyrios. Basically the other Mandalorians get pissed because they're jealous and they want the Kyrios. They're wondering how we got all the steel there. They come over and we get a cool glimpse into the Mandalorian state, because one of the Mandalorians says our strength used to be in numbers and now we can only show one at a time up at the surface. The Empire destroyed us and he's working with the Empire. She's like, no, the Empire's destroyed. She's like, he's not working with the Empire anymore. These were forged in an Imperial forge or whatever, but Mando is working on his own. She's like, don't worry about it, our survival is our strength. And they say, okay, this is the way, and they say this is the way a million times, but it's a cool little glimpse into that culture and where they stand and how they have to go in secrecy now, as opposed to where they used to just go out and about. So that's cool. But Mando gets his full armor and man, it looks badass. He walks into the cantina, everyone's looking at him. And he goes over to Carl Weathers' character, and he's like, oh, it's my prize student, my prize pupil. What can I help you with? And he's like, I want my next job. He's like, no. You just brought me Baby Yoda. He's like, you take some time, enjoy your victory. And then Mando was like, well, how many of these other people had trackers? How many? Because he's seen the trackers with other bounty hunters. And he's like, they all had trackers, but he's like, you know what? None of them brought me Baby Yoda like you did. He's like, you were the only one to deliver the target. And Mando's like, all right, well, he's like, just give me my next job. And he takes the bounty puck. It's another smuggler or whatever. And he goes to leave, and he asks Carl Weathers. He says, do you know what they're gonna do with the child? And he's like, that's against the guild code. He's like, I don't ask. Just take the payment and go to your next job. He's like, by the time you're in space, you're going to forget all about it. And he's like, all right. Mando's like, whatever. So Mando gets in his ship. He fires up the engines. He's just about to leave. And he just looks over and there's no Baby Yoda there. And he just feels this void. In the very beginning of the episode that I didn't touch on, Baby Yoda's playing with one of his knobs. He takes the knob off there and he's like, it's not a toy. And he puts Baby Yoda back in the crib. And puts it back on. Well, when he goes back in there, he goes to check for Baby Yoda like he's used to, and he's not there. And he feels just a void, a black hole. He's like, something's missing. He's like, I can't just leave that child to die or whatever they're going to do with him. So right before Mando leaves, he goes back. He's on a mission. He's going to Herzog to go get his child back. He ends up ripping the eyeball up. That's opens the door. He ends up destroying that, places a detonator on the wall, takes out a few stormtroopers. He finds the doctor doing tests on Baby Yoda. He takes Baby Yoda and the doctor's like, please. He's like, he would not be alive if it was not for me. And he spares his life. He's like, he's just a child. And he's like, no shit, dude, I know that. He takes Baby Yoda, he leaves. Eventually, he runs into Carl Weathers people, and Carl Weathers has been like working with Herzog apparently. And he's like, look, Mando, he's like, you broke the rule, man. He's like, you broke the guild code. He's like, you took your payment, and he's like, you don't ask questions after that. You came back for Baby Yoda, like, we gotta take you down. So Mando like hops behind a couple crates, takes out his gun, disintegrates a couple people. Carl Weathers is like, that's a very impressive weapon. He's like, we can discuss some deals. Just put the child on that speeder. And he's like, I can't do that. He's like, I'm gonna walk to my ship, and you're gonna allow me. And Mando eventually goes up. He gets to his ship. Carl Weathers kind of comes at him. He shoots Carl Weathers. We think he's dead, but he actually is saved by some Beskar steel ingot that's in his pocket. So that's a fun little touch there. But Mando gets the child back. He goes to leave. And what's cute is that at the beginning, when he yelled at Baby Yoda for playing with the knob, he's sitting in his crib there. He actually like unscrews the knob and gives it to him to play with. So it's like Mando clearly cares for him as like a parent, and he's like, you know what, I can't do without this child. Once I get the connection, that parental connection, he's like, I can't go without it. So we don't know where Mando's going, because he was supposed to deliver Baby Yoda to Werner Herzog. Now that's not happening. Now he's a wanted man, so he's got to escape the guild, and we don't know who else is going to come after him, but it's very clear that Baby Yoda is a very valuable target. A bunch of people have a fob for him. Mando doesn't know his value yet or why everyone's after him, but they know that he's a hot commodity. He's going to go somewhere, we don't know where. He came from Tatooine. He went to go see Vernon. Or Werner, excuse me. I don't know why I keep calling him Vernon, like Vernon Dudley. Strange. But yeah, we don't know where Mando's going next, but this is where the adventure kind of kicks off, where it's like everyone's after Baby Yoda. He doesn't know why, but he's got to keep this kid alive. He has a connection to this kid. Who knows what's going to happen next. So, yeah, that's episode 2. Again, like I said, these are going to be quick reviews. So I'm going to try to have these to be somewhat extensive, at least 10 minutes maybe, but it's hard. This episode, not much happens. He just goes to deliver Baby Yoda. He delivers Baby Yoda. He gets his payment. He gets his armor. Then he feels bad. He goes back and gets Baby Yoda again. Now he's on the run. So that's really all that happens in this one. There's not a lot like there was last episode where he's going after the Jawas and he's got to trade with this Jawas and get the egg, or the pilot where he's like getting the bounty and all that. It's like it's very straightforward. He's I'm not going to recap it again because I just went over it, but yeah. Delivers Baby Yoda, gets his payment, gets Baby Yoda back, so he's really doubling up. But yeah, this one, I guess Mando is probably the best one in this episode. It's hard. There's not really a ton of supporting cast in this show. It's really just kind of Mando. Carl Weathers is always really good. I could maybe pick him for a best actor, but I mean, the show is about Mando, so I think I have to pick Mando. And then it's really like, you know, we see Herzog for a second, but he's not really in it. We don't know what really happened to him, but yeah, it's about Mando. And for a score for this one, I'm going to give it an 8.6. This is, I think, not as good as the pilot, but better than episode 2. It's a fun episode, but really it's just, it just shows you the connection from Mando to Baby Yoda, but there's not like any big set pieces. It is cool. The action is cool. See Mando take out the different stormtroopers and take out Carl Weathers, but it's now Carl Weathers isn't on their side, so it's kind of interesting to see those dynamics at play. But yeah, this is kind of a straightforward episode. It just shows you that Mando is in it for the long run, and we don't know where he's going next. So I'm really more excited for coming episodes, not necessarily this one, but it was a good time, and I'm having a good time enjoying this series and watching this over again. So I think episode 3 was solid, just not as good as the pilot. Alright guys, well that's it. That's kind of our speed review of The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 3, which is called The Sin. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please check out the other content on the channel. Please like, comment, and most importantly, please subscribe if you can. I'm really trying to get those numbers up there. Hope you guys had a good time watching this, and until next time guys, this is the way.